All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome. Welcome in, welcome in. Just turn up my brightness, make sure everything is good to go here. Cool. Welcome in, guys. If you are just joining, my name is Unquestionable Calvin. I talk to people about what they believe, why they believe it, and whether they have evidence for those beliefs. In particular, I like to talk about Christianity or just religion in general. So if you are a believer in a particular religion and you'd like to talk to me about what you believe, why you believe it, feel free to call in. We can have a discussion. Just a couple rules. When you call up, I'm going to ask you how old you are first and foremost. If you fail to give me how old you are, or if it's anything under 18 years old, I'm going to drop you. Sorry, that's just how things work. It's not my rules, it's TikTok. So you have to give me your age as soon as you call up. I'm going to ask for it, and we're not going to move on until you do. Second thing is I'd like to stick to the topic at hand here. We can diverge into different things when the discussion starts, but if you're calling in, I want us to start off with this topic. And obviously, as the conversation builds and such, we'll move on to some different topics and stuff maybe here and there. But for the most part, I want to stick to each topic that I have for every live that I do. Yeah, welcome in. Again, if you're just joining, my name is Unquestionable Calvin. I talk to people about what they believe, why they believe it. I used to do a podcast called Unquestionable with Calvin Smith. This is the logo for it, and that's kind of like my whole thing. It's literally everywhere. So go check out my old podcast. I don't record any videos for it anymore or any podcast episodes for it anymore, but it's still available for everyone to listen to, even though it's been like 2.5, almost 3 years since I stopped doing the Unquestionable podcast. But again, if you are a theist, feel free to call in. I am only looking to talk to theists today, and I am not 100% sure how long I'm going to be live for. I guess it depends on how many guest requests I get and how long those conversations last. I'd like to take maybe 1 or 2 people, maybe just a quick thing, have a little bit of a longer conversation per person, I got my Red Bull on standby. I've got my Bible on standby. We can talk about Bible stuff. The whole prompt for today is, did Jesus resurrect? PM Art Ministry says, forgive me, what is a theist? Someone who believes in a god or a higher being or a deity, I guess. So someone who believes in a god, basically. Theist is just kind of like an all-encompassing word that typically we use in discussion. But thanks. By the way, I guess I should probably mention, make sure to double tap the screen, give me some likes, share the live with your friends. Feel free to request up as a guest if you are a theist. I'm only looking to talk to religious people today, as much as I appreciate my atheist supporters. No problem, PM Art Ministries. Marcus Wellington, what? Why doesn't Jesus trust humans anymore? He's afraid he'll get double-crossed. Like insert comedic drum fill here. Wow, thank you so much for the gifts and such. I do appreciate it. Yeah, super awesome. I appreciate all you guys for the gifts and the likes, the follow, shares, etc. I don't have any guests requesting up right now. Just keep in mind, again, I'm only looking to talk to religious people today. But Pizza Pie says, yes, he did. Pizza Pie, you can call up and we can talk about it a little bit. Just keep in mind, I'm going to ask you how old you are as soon as you call up. If you're not 18 or over, or you're not a theist, and you're disrespectful, then we're going to move on to the next person. But we're just people talking about stuff. We're no reason to get all worked up and angry. The Abrahamic faiths are all based around Loki. Interesting. If you say so. I don't find that to be true, but yeah. I think it helps the myths. I think it helps the myth about the narrative. I'm not sure what you mean. Are you talking like the resurrection thing? I guess I just don't know. But if you're a theist, call up. We can talk about it. Do you believe in free will? It's kind of a weird question for me. I guess, like, technically, yes, but if you really want to dive into being like a philobro or something like that, if you really, really want to dive into it, I don't know. It's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little ambiguous. It's not super clear to me. All right. We have first guest request. Just remember, guys, you have to be theist. You have to believe in a God. If you do not believe in a God, I'm going to drop you right away, okay? It's nothing personal. I just, I talk to atheists all the time, right? Because I am one. I want to talk to some theists. So I'm going to ask you how old you are and if you're a theist, and, we'll go on from there. Hey, before we get started, how old are you?
I am 24 years old.
Cool. What's up? I'm assuming you're a believer.
Yes, I am a theist. I'm actually a deacon in the Presbyterian Church, but I studied Second Temple Judaism, so I'm a religion major.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm assuming that you believe the prompt. Did you believe that Jesus resurrected?
I believe that it is important to believe that within the narrative of the gospel. I don't know if I believe that I believe it historically or scientifically, or that I need to be a Christian.
So what do you mean by that when you say it? What is it like? It helps the myth of the narrative. Like, what does that mean?
So the big thing with that is that they are trying to make a point about, to me, from my understanding of Second Temple Judaism and when the story comes about, it is important for a bodily resurrection, not a spiritual one, for debates that are going on in the religion in the time period, for certain morals and ethics to make sense to them that really don't make much sense to us today.
Okay. So, I mean, essentially, you. So I mean, you believe. Let me just try to clarify. So you believe that other people believe that it happened is kind of like what it comes down to. I don't.
Yes, because we understand that for some reason in this time period in the world, a lot of people were coming back from the dead. What that means, from a historical scientific point of view, we could say, well, people don't come back from the dead, obviously. But Jesus making the claim that he came back, like his followers making the claim that he came back from the dead, is not a weird thing in this time period, especially among Galilean Jewish people who are waiting for the Messiah.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, people stretch stories all the time. I mean, I would argue that most of the stories in the Bible just straight up didn't happen, was straight up fabrication. But yeah, I guess then it comes down to like why believe it at all? Why follow it? I mean, so you don't believe that Jesus literally like resurrected and like didn't like that?
I think that it's important within my religious belief system to believe that he did, because the story itself there, I think that there's kind of this like Platonism that's kind of inherent with a lot of Christianity, especially in the beginning. And I think that we see it a lot now where I think Christians don't get the point of the resurrection. So a lot of them don't really believe in it anymore.
So I
They
get that it's good for the belief to believe that, but I mean, do you? Just like it's kind of a yes or no question. Like, do you think that that actually happened or no?
I don't believe it historically happened.
Okay. And okay, so then that just kind of throws me off as to like why you would even consider yourself a Christian. Not to say that you're not. I'm not going to note you Scotsman you or anything, but um, how does if you don't believe like the whole, I guess you could say like reason that Jesus came, he essentially came to die or whatever to atone for sin. Why even follow that? I mean, why not just do your own thing without all that extra religion baggage?
So, and this is where if you see, it matters how you interpret the narrative. And I choose to believe it as a myth because I don't think most people who believed like Greek myth believed that literally Zeus did the things he did.
But there's a lot of
And
people that did. I mean, yeah,
yeah, there is. But I mean, like saying that, I think that there is something inherently beautiful in the idea that what God looks like in the world is a foreigner who is betrayed by everyone that they love, including their religion, their God, their societal structure. and their basis on them being betrayed and being tortured was because of the fact that they wanted to preach good news for the poor, the marginalized, and the oppressed. And that being understood as the highest good in the world is a good thing.
Okay. I don't disagree that, Jesus had some, good teachings and Christianity has some good teachings. But I mean, I also think that, other religions have other good teachings. And I think that even people that are not religious have pretty good teachings. Like, I mean, the golden rule and such existed like well before Christianity, or even like really, even, I argue even that religion has been around. The golden rule's kind of been a thing as a concept. Um, and I just don't see why you need that to be a good person. Why you need to choose to believe that if you don't believe that it historically happened. I mean that kind of you know that makes a lot of other parts of Christian ideology and Jewish ideologies kind of fall apart because the whole point of like these things happening was for Jesus to atone for them later type of thing. It just kind of I don't know. There's a lot of like plot holes in what's going on and believe.
Well, and that's also where if you believe that this is like the word of God and it's a monolith, it changes than if you think that these are very similar to, like, let's say something like Aesop's fable. I like, understanding that for some reason this belief system makes me feel like it helps me become a better person. Um, so I choose it. Now, saying that, I don't think that you're wrong for being an atheist. I mean,
Do you
like,
think that do you think that belief is a choice?
no, not at all. I mean, I think that especially out of a good God, if he required belief, like a lot of Christians believe he does, then him not showing everyone the same thing is absolutely unfair and ridiculous.
So what I would say is kind of more so going on because I get thrown off by saying you're choosing to believe this, you're choosing to believe that. I don't think you're not necessarily you're not convinced of basically the whole like point, the whole like main climax of Christianity, the crucifixion. You don't even believe that that happened, and but you're following the teachings of Christianity because it feels like it makes you a better person. When sorry, dry throat. When I think that you can be a good person without all of that baggage. See what I'm saying?
Well, and this is where it matters on how we see it as baggage. I mean, because I understand for a lot of people, they inherited their belief systems and then it is baggage. It A lot of times these systems make people worse people. Um,
Well, it's
and
not even just that because I mean, of course, I would agree that Christianity can make you a really terrible person. I just made a video about that like a day or two ago. How Christianity can make you a bad person or can make you a really good person. Either or, but it's more so like as far as baggage, like the baggage that obviously I'm speaking about is the supernatural things. That's my biggest contention is like the literal magic superpowers that Jesus was supposedly having, and not even just Jesus, but these other prophets throughout history that apparently existed. They had like quite literally had superpowers, magic, and that's like the biggest thing for me. And I mean, if you're not, that's what I would consider as the baggage, really. And so I feel like if you're not believing in all the supernatural stuff, like what's the point to begin with? I guess is kind of where I'm coming from.
so, I mean, I think that part of it is, and also like, because I wanted to say, like, I think it's because that I believe that there is kind of this like God, but even what I call God is probably different than what a lot of people call God, because I mean, there's the idea of a conscious God that's like kind of like this judge that sits in a chair, and then there's this idea that God is being itself. Because I tend to consider myself more of a pantheist, and I tell people pantheism and atheism are a lot closer together than they are apart. Spinoza's
Yeah, I
the
mean, I guess yeah, I guess I kind of agree that I don't know. Hey man, listen. I enjoyed this conversation. We kind of got like a little bit off topic there. I'm gonna move on for today, but I mean, if you want to call again, next time we can kind of continue the conversation. That's cool too.
Okay, have a great one, man.
All right, have a good one. Hey, W first guest. Great job. Great job. Very fun. Sorry, I kind of started to space out at the end there just because it was getting into like, I don't know. I'm just not feeling the philosophical stuff today, guys. Feeling out of it. I've been partying the last couple days because I'm on vacation from work this week, so I don't go back until Sunday. And hey, tomorrow, by the way, there's going to be some content coming in the next week or so. And sorry, I spaced out again, but I'm going to be the mayor of Hell, Michigan tomorrow. If you guys have ever heard of Hell, Michigan, it's yeah, it's a little town where you actually can like be mayor for a day. So I like scheduled out a guest or a day, and yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to drive out to Hell, Michigan because I'm located in Southeast Michigan as well. So it's only like a 45-minute drive away from me. I'm gonna drive to yeah, Hell, Michigan, be mayor. I don't know, maybe pass a decree or two. There will be some content regarding that. Gonna have some fun there. We have some stuff planned out. My wife's gonna record, and I'm just gonna kind of vibe out around town. You know. Yeah, Detroit. Yeah, I'm based in Detroit, just outside of Detroit. But yep, I am a Michigander, born and raised. No guest requests right now. Feel free to request up if you are a theist. I'm only looking to talk to theists today. Yeah. Welcome in if you're just joining. My name is Unquestionable Calvin. I talk to people about what they believe, why they believe it. I thought Detroit was hell. Haha. You're not wrong. Detroit's pretty terrible. Where was I just driving through the other day that was really terrible? Sterling Heights. Oh man. Sterling Heights is a crazy city to drive through. I never drove through there before until we went to a concert the other day. We went to see Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20, and he was over at Sterling Heights, and dude, it was terrible over there. My God. Grew up in Chicago. I've never been. My wife and I were just on Lake Michigan just 2 days ago. We were talking about just going around the corner to Chicago, but decided against it. Hey guys, I am doing a debate live. My name is Unquestionable Calvin. If you want to talk to me about, do you believe that Jesus resurrected from the dead? Do you feel like that, or do you believe that he flew up into heaven in front of 500 people? I'd love to talk about it. If that actually happened, I want to know that it happened. All right. All right, we're gonna move on to the next guest. Just so you guys know, I am only talking to theists today. If you are an atheist, I'm sorry. I'm just going to move on. It's nothing personal. I just want to talk to theists today. And honestly, I might take this guest, and if there's no other guest requests after that, that might just be the end of the live, honestly, just because nothing's really sparking today. No one's really, wanting to come up and talk, which is fine. Maybe I'll try again tomorrow or something. But nonetheless, let's take this next guest. Hey, before we
Hello,
get started, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Cool. What's up? Are you theist?
Yes, I'm a theist.
Cool. What do you believe? Like, what do you believe that the resurrection happened?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you believe that?
Mm, I believe that because I believe that I'm convinced that the disciples believe that, and I trust the disciples.
Okay. So I'm sorry. You said you trust the science for it.
No, no, no. I believe the disciples believed it, and I trust the disciples.
Okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. So do you think that if someone approaches you and says, "I believe in Bigfoot. Here's what my reasonings for why I believe in Bigfoot." Do you just believe him off of him saying things to you?
I mean, it would obviously depend on said reasoning.
Mhm. So if they only had reason, if they didn't have evidence or anything to present you, they just came with their anecdotal account, like, "Hey, I believe in Bigfoot. Do you believe him? Like, do you believe that in Bigfoot too?"
I mean, would they be willing to be martyred for said belief? Is what I would say.
So I guess where I'm going with this, let's kind of finish this up. Where I'm going is that someone saying that they believe in something doesn't make it good reason. I wouldn't say that it's good reason to believe what they're saying just because they're saying something extraordinary. If someone comes to me and says that Bigfoot, um, walked in front of me in the forest and he said hello and, we did thumb wars or something, I'm not going to just believe that just because he said that. Because I feel like that's a pretty extraordinary claim that would require more than just him speaking something to me. As opposed to if you told me you had a bologna sandwich for lunch, I would probably believe you because it's pretty reasonable that you would have the ingredients for a bologna sandwich. Lunchtime is a real time that people eat, etc. Um, I don't see a reason just because people die for something they believe in doesn't make that thing true. So those people that flew a plane into the two towers, the World Trade Center, they did that on behalf of Islam and Allah. So I mean, does that make Islam true because people died for their beliefs? If I take my car and I drive my car into the side of a building and die in the process in the name of Bigfoot, does that make Bigfoot true?
Well, I would say if like you believed you seen Bigfoot, I would say if it's multiple people, I would say would hold weight. Yes,
So if I told you that I saw Bigfoot, you would believe me.
and if a few of in let's say two of your friends also said they seen
Okay,
Bigfoot
so
with you,
now we're moving the goalpost. Do you see what I'm saying? Is that first it was, you believe what they say just because they say it, and then it was, well, if you say that you've seen it, then it'd be different. I said that I've seen it. Now you're saying, okay, well, if you also had two friends, like we keep moving the goalposts, right? Because your standards aren't at a good at a good standard, right? You don't have a good standard for evidence. You have to continuously move the goalposts instead of taking what we have, and we don't have anything other than, we have the disciples who died for something they believe in, right? Which we already talked about how that isn't evidence that something is real. It's just evidence that people are willing to die for something they really believe in, whether it's true or not. um so that's the only thing that we have, and on top of that, these people, we can't even prove that any of them existed. We have zero. We have a couple pieces of evidence, I'll grant, for a couple, like I think two of the 12 disciples, but essentially all of them are made up characters. That is, their deaths and martyrdoms have been passed on by oral tradition through the church. There's no actual documentation or stories um, revolving around how they died. It is all oral tradition through the church. So that's another reason why I don't think that the disciples would even be a good reason to believe that a man died and then flew up into the sky in front of 500 people when we can't even determine if these 12 people actually existed. I'm just not making the connection.
where Josephus mentions the martyrdom of James.
Yes, but Josephus notices martyrdom of James. So that's a piece of evidence that we have, but also a lot of Josephus's letters have been known forgeries that were written dozens of years after the fact. After he died, even some of these forgeries of Josephus have been made. Now, what those forgeries are, off the top of my head, I don't have that for you. But who cares what Josephus has to say, anyways, because he was born, lived, and died after Jesus would have done the whole resurrection thing. So why, again, it's just him listening to a guy saying he saw a thing, which we already talked about. That isn't good evidence.
That's not what I said. I said he talks about the martyrdom of James. This has nothing to do with the resurrection. I'm talking about
Okay.
Josephus talks about the martyrdom of James.
Okay. And again, as I just said, that is one piece of evidence, and Josephus has known forgeries, many known forgeries of his letters and teachings, and what's the word I'm looking for? I guess writings. I guess a lot of those are known forgeries. Now, could the one that you're talking about be true? I don't know. Don't know off the top of my head. I'll look into it. But again, just exactly as another commenter just said, Josephus also wrote about Hercules. So I mean, he's no stranger to writing about fictional characters.
So we're saying since Josephus wrote about Hercules, we can't trust anything Josephus says.
No, No, that's not what I'm saying. Is that I mean, I feel like that would definitely hurt his credibility if you're writing it as about Hercules and James in the same breath. And there's not really any differentiation. He's not like coming out and saying, "Hey, this isn't true. This Hercules guy isn't real, but this James guy is," or vice versa. He's not saying that. So I mean, yeah, it does kind of hurt the credibility. Yeah, doesn't make it invalid. It could be true, right? Both Hercules and James could be real, or they both could be not real. Could be, but he doesn't make that differentiation.
I mean, the fact that you can't concede the historicity of James's martyrdom is quite odd to me.
But yeah, we don't have solid evidence that he was a real person. So I don't, and like again, as we already talked about, a guy dying for something he believes in doesn't make it true. Just because James died for something doesn't mean that a man flew up in the sky.
Well, I okay. We have. I mean, Paul. Do you think Paul's letters or do you think Paul existed?
I'm kind of on the fence about it for the sake of this conversation. I'll grant it, but many of his letters are also known forgeries.
Do you know which ones are and are not?
Not off the top of my head. I don't have that for you. I have it somewhere in my jumbled mess of notes somewhere, but I don't have it for you right now.
Well, you know, First Corinthians isn't a forgery. Do you know that
Okay.
or no? I mean, he mentions James in First Corinthians. So I mean, we
Okay.
have that. We have a letter that is
So do you
claimed to be
think that?
James.
So again, a guy saying a thing. A guy. So instead of James, put Bigfoot in there, right? So if Paul said that he saw Bigfoot, you would just believe it because he wrote it down. Or could it be that he put the name of the that's part of the story, the whole James thing being part of the story to collaborate what he was talking about and trying to push, to push a narrative? Do you think that, maybe he just lied about it?
He lied about James existing.
Yeah, do you think that that's a possibility?
I think it's a very small possibility, and I
But it's
think
a possibility.
your logic. I think your logic. We have to start throwing out a bunch of things in history.
No, not necessarily. I mean, we're talking about it's different if we're talking about, people just doing people stuff, right? But this is a man who was supposedly God or son of God, whatever flavor of Christianity you are, and that had magic superpowers. He was flying and he was walking on water. He was bringing people back to life, and he was curing blindness and leprosy, and he was what he was resurrecting himself and flying up into heaven, and and if you think that he was actually God, then that's, add the Old Testament shit that's going on top of there. I mean, this is really extraordinary stuff. So a
That has nothing to
guy
do with the
saying that
existence
it
of the
happened
James.
doesn't convince a guy saying that to push a narrative of a pre-existing story doesn't sound convincing. I need a little bit more than one or two guys talking about a thing and a guy who's willing to die for something.
Again, like you won't even concede the even existence. It seems like of James just because I'm trying to use it to build my case for the resurrection. Like when I
Well,
get extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, but to say this guy existed, that's not very extraordinary.
no, it isn't. But saying the things that okay, so cool. Let's grant that James existed. Cool, great. He was a real person. Who cares? Like, who cares? He died for something he believed in. That doesn't mean that it was actually true. It doesn't mean that it actually happened. It doesn't mean that he even knew Jesus, that Jesus was a real person. It's not to say that this wasn't exaggerated. Maybe James was kind of a real person, but someone just like elaborated and exaggerated what was going on and what was being said to push a pre-existing narrative, Christianity and the teachings of Christianity and Judaism, right? How do you just? I mean, you're just going to rule out that this could just literally all be fabrication, all of it.
When because like scholars agree these people existed. That's why.
Not all of them. Surprising, you would be surprised how, like, most scholars, even highly devout Christian scholars, don't believe Moses existed. There's absolutely no reason
I
to
don't
think
either.
that he
I don't
existed,
either.
right? And I feel like he's a really, really, really important
Most
biblical
did exist.
character. Um, Noah, we have no evidence that Noah
No, it
existed.
didn't
We have
exist.
no evidence that Jesus existed. We have no evidence that, Abraham existed. We have no evidence of any of these
Jesus? You don't think Jesus
prophetic
existed?
people actually even existing. So who cares what a guy has to say, that if a guy says that he believes it? Like, I'm not getting how that's convincing.
I mean, did you say Jesus? We don't have any evidence Jesus existed.
Yeah, no, Jesus did not exist.
What?
Yeah, for the sake of this conversation, I've been granting it, but he was not a real person. He did not actually exist. We have literally no reason to believe that he even was a real person to begin with. For the sake of this conversation, I grant it. We could talk about that. But in all actuality, he was not real. He's straight up a storybook character.
Well, uh,
So that's
as a
why
lot
I
of people,
land
they don't
why
waste their
that that's
time.
why I land on that James didn't exist, because James
Yeah,
being the brother of Jesus, Jesus didn't exist, therefore James didn't exist.
yeah. A lot of people on here don't waste their time talking to flat earthers, so I'm gonna do myself the respect, and I'm not gonna talk to a Christ smither. So
Okay. Sounds like you're a coward. Okay. I guess you're happy just believing in fairy tales then. That's called willful ignorance, my young man. So it's called willful ignorance, and I implore you, you can hop on here anytime. I'm not scared to talk about it. Sounds like you're a bit afraid because, people get thrown off when I say that, Jesus didn't exist, and then they run away because you don't have evidence of it. You know it. You know it. That's why you always have to run away, because as soon as someone actually says, "Where's the evidence for Jesus?" there ain't shit. Nobody has anything. Like literally, he didn't exist. He wasn't real. Sorry. I mean, someone's welcome to prove me wrong, but he wasn't real. So that's why I don't think that the whole resurrection thing didn't happen, because he didn't exist to begin with. Um, hey, listen, guys. I know that there's a couple people asking to be guests. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna get out of here for today. I'm just, it's just one of those days. I want to hop on here, make an appearance, and say hello to everybody. Um, but I gotta get out of here. I'm feeling exhausted. Had a long week already. I got a big day being the mayor of Hell, Michigan tomorrow. Tons of content to come out involving that. Um, and yeah, I think I'm gonna hop off of here, play some video games, and hang out with my dog, and maybe have a couple drinks, and chill out. I got to do one quick errand when my wife gets home. We got to run out, get something, come back, and then I'm home for the night. So maybe I'll be on again later if something happens. Um, maybe someone, maybe I'll hop on someone else's live, say hello, keep your eyes peeled, I guess. But thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Follow me on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat. I'm on Twitter too. I don't ever use it. Also, basically, if you just go to my bio, check out the link link tree in my bio that leads you to everything that I do. If you'd like to set up a debate with me, you can email me at calsmithmusicinfo at gmail.com. Thank you for the likes, follows, shares. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We're coming up onto 120,000 follows on TikTok, and I'm almost to 17,000 followers on Instagram. So let's keep that going. And that's it for today. I appreciate you guys. Don't believe in Christianity. That you're too old for that. It's childish. Please don't. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.